Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Hope you're all in tip-top form. It's been a good few months since I've shown any CD purchases from charity shops or thrift stores, as you call them in America. It got to the stage where I was only finding the odd item, so it was hardly worth bothering to show them here on the channel. But in recent weeks I've stumbled upon a honey hole and I'm picking up quite a few CDs. So I thought it's a good time to start showing those that I've already listened to. Okay, we'll get started then. First up, it's Mink Deville and Spanish Stroll, 1977-1987, and this was put out on the Rave record label. Vocalist Willie DeVille grew up in the New York tenements in the 1960s, surrounded by Latin pop music, and he was influenced by acts such as the Drifters and Arthur Alexander, and also those melodramatic teen odes penned by the New York Brill Building songwriters. His look came from the Pachuco subculture, which favoured zoot suits and flamboyant pompadour hairstyles. Debut album Cabretta, which came out in 1977, was produced by Jack Nietzsche, who'd worked alongside Phil Spector in the early 1960s. And a highlight from that album, and included on this comp, is a cover of the Crystals' Little Girl. At his best, his lyrics bring New York street life alive in a similar way to Lou Reed and Bruce Springsteen can. He only had one hit single here in the UK, and that was Spanish Stroll, which reached the top 20 in 1977. He always surrounded himself with some quality musicians and co-wrote a number of songs with New York rock and roll legend Doc Pomus, and he worked again with producer Jack Nietzsche, but sadly he never really got out of being just a cult artist. This is a beautiful package from the Australian reissue label Rave. It's got a really nice booklet and summarises his career really well. Next up, it's Ommadawn, Mike Oldfield, and this is on Virgin. And following on from Tubular Bells and Hergest Ridge, Oldfield again recorded two side-long pieces. Outside musicians helping him out on this occasion include Paddy Maloney, the Ilian piper from the Chieftains, and also South African exiles Jabula on African drums. The transcendent melancholy melodies are a match, I think, for any that he recorded throughout his career. Next up, it's Horace Andy and the Prime of Horace Andy, 20 classic tracks from the 70s, and this came out on the Music Club label. Years before his collaborations with Massive Attack, he was recording roots reggae with producer Bunny Lee. His pure, almost falsetto vocals will really melt your heart. He's adept at covering other artists' songs and making them his own. I'm thinking here in particular of his version of Ain't No Sunshine and also Natural Mystic by Bob Marley. But he also wrote his own songs and drawing upon his Rastafarian faith. And I think Zion Gate and Money Money are the best ones for me on this album. Next we have Fleet Foxes and Shaw on the Anti label, and this was their fourth album released in 2020. I'd enjoyed Fleet Fox's debut album more for its Laurel Canyon hippie atmosphere than its actual songwriting, so this came as a real pleasant surprise. Leader Robin Pecknold writes a uniformly strong set of songs here, with positive lyrics, celestial harmonies, and even some tunes which can be hummed by the man in the street. I came away from this album with a renewed respect for Pecknold. I did a double take when I came across this in a charity shop, brand new sealed for £1. It's TULLYCRAFT, the singles, and it's on the Darla record label. They were pioneers of indie twee pop in the United States, and they were based in Seattle, I think. And this is a comp lifted from early 7-inch singles and various comp appearances from back in the day. Superboy and Supergirl, and also Pop Songs Your New Boyfriend's Too Stupid to Know About, are quintessential twee pop, with lyrics referencing underground pop culture, musicianship which relies on DIY spirit above technical prowess, and a sense of wonderment at actually getting a band together and recording these songs. You would have to be a real curmudgeon, I think, to not feel the love. Next up, it's Planxty by Planxty on the Shanachie label, and Irish folk group with 4 superlative musicians, Christy Moore, Donald Lunny, Andy Irvine and Liam O'Flynn. And this was their debut album from 1972. Highlights include the Ewan MacColl song Sweet Thames Flow Sweetly and West Coast of Clare, O'Flynn's Ilian pipes in support of spine-tingling vocal harmonies are what helped lift this album to the very top tier of Irish music. And moving on, we come to Paul Simon by Paul Simon on Sony Music. Despite the presence of producer Roy Halley, keyboardist Larry Knechtel and drummer Hal Blaine, all from the previous album by Simon & Garfunkel, Bridge Over Troubled Water, this is a more understated folk-based record. Simon's dexterous acoustic guitar playing is an absolute revelation. Mother and Child Reunion is a foray into authentic sounding reggae. Me and Julio Down by the Schoolyard has a Latin feel. Run That Body Down has exquisite vocals, acoustic guitar and tune, and I think it's one of his very best songs. Next, it's the artist formerly known as Prince and Rave Unto the Joy Fantastic, and this was put out on the Arista record label, and it was released in 1999. I've never seen it before, so I suspect it wasn't really a big seller here in the UK. You get some named special guests on here, but to be fair, they don't really add anything to the pot. I'm thinking here in particular of Chuck D's contribution to the track Undisputed. But vocally, Prince is on absolute top form, both on the ballads and on the funkier numbers. Favourite track for me is the guitar-based So Far, So Pleased, which comes complete with an AOR guitar solo. It should have been a single, and I'm really surprised that no enterprising power pop band has covered that song, because it's really crying out for a cover version. Next up, it's Tilly and the Wall and the album O, and this was put out by Moshi. I was expecting indie twee pop, maybe similar to TULLYCRAFT, but the band they remind me of the most on here is the folk artists, the Roaches. Their strength lies in male-female harmony vocals and relentlessly upbeat tunes. Alligator Skin and Chandelier Lake are the high points for me. The gimmick of having a tap dancer instead of a drummer, though, does start to wear thin about halfway through the album. Now, this was an absolutely superb find. 2 classic albums by Roy Orbison brought together on a CD by Monument, Lonely and Blue and Crying. If you're a fan of Roy Orbison, you must hear these 2 albums. Orbison's vocals and his songwriting are at their absolute peak. The musical arrangements, utilising strings and wind instruments, are the match of anything by Frank Sinatra, and the well-known hits are supplemented by some perfect cover versions and also deep cuts from the pen of Roy Orbison. Next, my heart skipped a beat when I spotted this one. It's Barry Dransfield and Wings of the Sphinx on Rhiannon. He's a folk singer and fiddler from North Yorkshire and recorded 2 classic folk albums with his brother Robin in the early 1970s. Wings of the Sphinx dates from 1996. His vocals on The Recruited Collier, a song dating back to the Napoleonic Wars, will just stop you in your tracks. The simple guitar accompaniment fits the mood perfectly. He plays cello on the well-known folk song Gypsy Davy, and the mostly a cappella A Week Before Easter with occasional mournful fiddle accompaniment moved me to tears. It's a song of a spurned love and wanting to go to the grave in order to forget about her. Next, it's DEERHUNTER and Fading Frontier on 4AD, and I picked this up amazingly for 50p, brand new sealed. I had a similar reaction to this album as I did to Fleet Fox's Shore, and I'd lost interest in DEERHUNTER after Monomania, but this is a strong set of songs with more commercial appeal. Snakeskin in particular has an almost Bo Diddley guitar riff that hooks you in and drags you onto the dance floor. Also like the retro synths on the epic Ad Astra. Okay, we've got 360 by 360 band, and this is on 3MS Music. This is a band that disappeared without trace, and it's a pity they couldn't have used the Average White Band name, as they consisted of Hamish Stewart, Malcolm Duncan and Steve Ferrone, who all played for the Average White Band. It's a more sedate take on the Average White Band's R&B funk sound. Ferrone's drumming, though, is impeccable throughout. Moving along, we come to the fabulous Thunderbirds and T-Bird Rhythm, which was put out on the Benchmark label. And this is their fourth album by this Texan blues band, and released in 1982. Produced by Nick Lowe, and some of his pop sensibility certainly rubs off on the band. There's a subtlety to the performances and a chugging rhythm which really appeals to me. And next up, it's the VERTEBRATS and A Thousand Daydream, and it was a real surprise to find this in a charity shop. The VERTEBRATS were an indie rock band from Champaign, Illinois, and they were active from 1979 to 1982. They played energetic indie rock, like a cross, I think, between early Clash and the Replacements. Indeed, the Replacements would later cover one of the VERTEBRATS' songs live. There's always a tune here to grab you, or a hook, and it's an enjoyable listen, even though these tracks were drawn from demos and home recordings. And you also get a lovely booklet as well, which tells the story of the band and includes some photos. Okay, and that's it for now, but I've already listened to nearly 15 more of these CDs I've been picking up, so I'll try and get round to doing another video quite soon. Okay then, take care.